start with invocation prayer. Sahana Bhavatu.
Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. We'll chant verses 11 to 15.
Athaitatapyashaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan shreyo hi jnanamabhyasat jnanadhyanam vishishyate ध्यानात् कर्म फलत्यागः त्यागाच्छान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी संतुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोकः लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः.
So last week we concluded with verse number 11. Correct?
Yes.
So we are still on the topic 2, progressive ways to reach God, from verse number 6 to 12. So just to recap the thought flow, so we understand what's happening. So in verse number 6 and 7, Krishna gives clear broad line, the guideline of a spiritual path. What is spiritual path all about? The science of spiritual evolution. So you need to understand that so that you don't approach spirituality randomly. So to begin with, you have to understand your nature. To what extent you are active, devotional, and intellectual. So once you understand that, then you have to adjust your spiritual practices in line with your nature. So which is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So when this proper adjustment is made, these three spiritual practices, they remove bulk of the desires. And you reach a state of operatis called as withdrawal. So externally you are very dynamic. In fact, you become more dynamic because agitations, worry, anxiety, stress is not bothering you, relatively speaking. But internally you are absolutely calm and composed. That renunciation in action. And as you continue, more desires are offloaded, you become contemplative. Your spiritual goal comes into sharp focus and you are able to maintain consistency in your efforts. And as you continue, you reach a state of dhyan. Dhyan means meditation. So, which is the last spiritual practice to merge with the supreme reality. So that's the science of spiritual evolution he explained in verse number 6 and 7. And then verse number 8, he talks about meditation. So meditation is nothing but confluence of mind and intellect. So that's the point you need to note down. So your mind, meaning your entire thought flow, all your desires, they have been reduced to just one thought, one desire, which is to merge with the self. And intellect is observing that chant in meditation. Om, that's what we chant. You may chant anything, doesn't matter. That's the principle. And as you keep that chant going, the Om going, at some stage you will meet with your Lord, as it were. You merge with Supreme Reality. So it's the highest practice. So if you are ready of, if all your desires have been offloaded, then you should meditate. So that's the advice or practice in verse number 8. Verse number 9, he tells us if you can't meditate, he says, do Abhyasa Yoga. Don't give up. Find out why you are not able to meditate. What is bothering you? It could be something internal, it could be something external. But if you can't do that, then you will have to overhaul your personality. So that is another meaning of practice or Abhyasa Yoga. You have to go back to spiritual practices. That means your desires are still there. Pockets of selfish desires, egocentric desires are still there. You're not still ready for meditation. So you need to find out what's happening and correct any aspect of your personality which needs correction. So that's what it means by Abhyasa Yoga in verse number 9. And verse number 10, he says, if you can't do Abhyasa Yoga, I mean, you have to be highly focused and disciplined to do that. Otherwise, how can you do it? Then he says, oblate all your activities to supreme reality and function. Every human being has got a talent. Everybody has got a role to play. So you identify your talent and you play your role to the best of your ability without asserting your personality, without asserting your individuality, without asserting your ego. Thy will be done. So verse number 10 is equivalent of Lord's Prayer, which we read out last week. And then he says, if you can't even oblate your actions to supreme reality, to do that, you should be relatively free from desires, isn't it? It's very practical. Then he says, fine, you need to fulfill your desires in life, whatever desires you have, but not to indulge in desires. That is main thing. Means to an end. If you indulge in your desires, 1 million lives are not enough. Nobody has exhausted desires by experience. So again, your main focus in life has to be the goal of enlightenment, or even relatively speaking, I want to become a better human being. And you understand desire is a barrier. So though I'm fulfilling my desires under the supervision of my intellect, it is only means to an end. So that's the advice in verse number 11. And again, he says, do not crave for the fruit of your actions. Don't be result oriented when you are trying to address your desires. Just do what you ought to do to the best of your ability. Don't get result oriented. Because if you get result oriented, again, you will be caught up in the fulfillment of your desires. And he says, self control. Mind will shift to the fruit. You will become result oriented from time to time. So when that happens, bring it back to your goal by using your intellect. So these are the main points from verse number 6 to 11. So are we okay? The group is okay with this? I just recapped the main points. Verse number 12, please.
श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानम् विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानम् विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्
Translation. Better indeed is knowledge than practice. Better than knowledge is meditation. Better than meditation is renunciation of the fruit of action. Peace immediately follows renunciation. Shanti anantaram. Tyagat shanti anantaram. So if you function in the spirit of renunciation, you are peaceful throughout your life. I'm going to explain what it means. Now, intentionally, he is using language of contradiction. If you read carefully, it doesn't make any sense. Superficially, if you read, it is opposed to what we have been studying so far. So why is he using the language of contradiction intentionally? Throughout Bhagavad Gita, even in Upanishad, you find suddenly there is a jerk. They want us to give a jolt. So why do they use the language of introduction? The only reason is they want us to think. And not many people, they think when it comes to spirituality. Otherwise also they don't think. Hardly anybody uses buddhi, intellect. But when it comes to religion, when it comes to spiritual path, rare is a person who approaches spiritual path with buddhi, with intellect. So that is the reason you find not many people are benefited by the highest knowledge. You may study Bible, you may study Quran, you may study Bhagavad Gita, you may study Upanishad, doesn't matter, any scripture. The only purpose is they want us to think. And unless you think, how can you manage your life? This is the problem, my problem, your problem, anybody's problem. That we don't think in life. Why don't we think in life? Because our intellect is not developed. And spirituality is meant for improving our intellect. But even in the spiritual field, most people, they blindly approach this subject. So therefore, it has been reduced to blind faith or mechanical rituals or some superstitious belief. Where is the intellect? So therefore, intentionally such contradictory statements are made. So even if handful of people, they start thinking, hey, what is he saying? That stretches your intellect. It's like in mathematics, like if you go on stretching your intellect, and a time comes that even a tough sum, you can really, it's no big deal. But initially it is not possible. And since our intellect is not developed, most people, 9 out of 10 cases, Swamiji says 10 out of 10 cases, I will say 9 out of 10 cases, 99.99% cases, intellect is not developed. So that's the reason you cannot manage yourself. All these mental wellness issues is nothing but what? This poor intellect. Mind has taken over our personality. So if you cannot manage yourself, you cannot manage anything externally. How is it possible? First of all, you will not be able to manage your relationships. You will not be able to manage your children. You won't be able to relate to them. You will not be able to manage your profession, your relationship with the community, your finances, and every aspect of your life. So that's the reason the great masters, they want us to think. See, most of you are familiar with Swamiji's introductory books. He has commented on, of course, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and other books like Bhajagovindam, Atma Bodha. But in addition to that, he has written 4 introductory books. So these books, they are a masterpiece. And if you ask me the bottom line is what? The intellect, the fall of the human intellect. We all have studied that book. So very clearly says, not only our intellect has fallen, but also we are not aware that it has fallen. That's the problem. And this applies individually, this applies collectively. Collectively, war which is going on, wars were always going on. It's not that only it is going on. It's a clear indication that our intellect has fallen. Individually, why we cannot get along with each other. In America, what is the separation rate? 60%, 70%. That means 6 out of 10 people, or maybe 7 out of 10 people, they cannot get along with each other. It's scary, that figure. What is it? You love that lady, you love that man. In spite of that, you cannot get along with him or her. Why? Because there is no intellect. You produce children, but you don't know how to relate to them. Why? Because your intellect is not there. So we can go on multiplying. So problems may be thousands, millions, but cause is only one. What is that cause? Anyone?
Poor intellect.
Sorry?
Intellect is not developed.
Excellent. There's only one answer. Why intellect is not developed? Where is the effort? None of us are, most people, they are not putting efforts to develop intellect. So that is why intentionally, coming back to the verse, he is using the language of contradiction. It's not contradiction, apparent contradiction. So what is the first apparent contradiction? So he says, Shreya hi jnanam abhyasat. Knowledge is better than practice. And since childhood, what we have been told?
Practice makes perfect.
No, that is different. Practice what you learn. Otherwise, what's you? You're learning Bhagavad Gita, you could be learning Bible, you could be learning any scripture. So when are you going to practice? To which he says, forget about practice. Knowledge is better than practice. So what does he mean by that? So that's the common belief, that if knowledge cannot be put into practice, then it is futile. Correct? In spite of that, he is making this statement. So for that, you need to understand the difference between knowledge and practice, or wisdom and practice. So knowledge is what I'm giving you. All these great masters, they are giving us. The book is giving us. But that knowledge you will not be able to apply into your day-to-day life if you do not have wisdom. And how do you get wisdom? Wisdom is a product of your own effort. You are supposed to reflect on this knowledge every day in the morning. What has been taught in this class, plus what is written in the book in the context of what we are studying. So you have to revisit that. You have to internalize that. You have to absorb that. So that process is called as reflection, manana in Sanskrit. So knowledge alone will not help you. Of course, you need knowledge to begin with. But that knowledge has to be turned into wisdom. And once you have wisdom, you apply. You live what great knowledge we are learning from these masters. So you get the knowledge, you reflect on the knowledge turns into wisdom. And once you have wisdom, what happens? You live that knowledge. That is number one. Number two, we are studying the chapter called as Bhakti Yoga. So it's a warning to all the devotees. See, most people, they are involved in mechanical rituals. They are holding on to some symbols or idols, which is okay, which is required. But if you do not know the meaning behind that, what is the use? See, that is where that knowledge comes in. religiously you salute the national flag, you do all the ceremonies associated with the nation, hoisting the flag, you fold a flag properly, you take care of it. Why not? But come April and you start manipulating on your taxes. You make some anti-national statements. There is some rally against the nation, and you go and participate in that. But religiously, you're hoisting what? The national flag. So you don't know the meaning behind that. So similarly, good many people, they are caught up in rituals. Rituals are required if you require rituals. But what is the meaning behind that ritual? Nobody knows. Why do you worship an idol in a temple? Nobody knows. Why I'm wearing this dot on my forehead? Nobody knows. Why I'm wearing this mala, rosary? Nobody knows. That doesn't mean you should not use all these things. If you require, you require. So that's the reason any religion, no exception, has been reduced to either blind faith, superstitious belief, or mechanical rituals. So therefore he says what? Knowledge is better than the practice. Are you following the thought flow? Then he says, Jnanat dhyanam vishishyate. Meditation is better than knowledge. Knowledge is supposed to take you to meditation. So here he's saying meditation is better than knowledge. One line explanation: knowledge is not to become a scholar. If you understand this, the rest is very simple. But I'm going to explain it step by step. So first of all, there is a pun on the word knowledge. Jnana means knowledge. There's a pun on the word knowledge. So knowledge is means to an end. Just knowledge alone is not going to help you. It is means to an end. Means to what? To purify your desires. And only when you purify your desires, you qualify for meditation. And through meditation, you reach the self. So that is the first meaning of the word knowledge. It can be used in that context. Also, by knowledge, he means the subjective experience of the state of self-realization. Are you getting the difference? The knowledge which we are studying is means to an end, means to purify our desires, eliminate our desires, qualify for meditation, and eventually it will lead to the state of self-realization, the knowledge of the state of self-realization. It's not theoretical knowledge, it is the subjective experience. So in that sense, there's a pun on the word knowledge. And only consistent application of knowledge takes you to meditation. The knowledge which we are learning, what do we do with this knowledge? What is the purpose of this knowledge? This knowledge is meant for what?
Get reach to the meditation.
Both answers are correct, but one major step in between is missing. What is that?
To finish the desires.
Mm-hmm. So
Eliminate
with knowledge, what we are supposed to do, what it helps us do.
Convert that to wisdom from there in it.
Knowledge and wisdom, now we are saying the same, using it synonymously. So with knowledge, what do we do?
Purify our desires.
Purify our desires. And when you purify desires, what happens? Gradually, that purification happens gradually. When you purify desires, what happens?
You qualify for meditation.
You qualify for
Meditation.
So now does it make, now read the sentence, Jnana dhyanam vishishyate. Meditation is better than knowledge. So purpose of knowledge is what? I'm trying to explain in different ways, because I know it's slightly subtle. So the purpose of knowledge is what? Meditation is better than knowledge. So the purpose of knowledge is what? Get rid of your desires. So when you get rid of your desires, it will take you to the state of meditation. So you need the knowledge, which we are all are getting. With knowledge, with reflection, that's what Veera was saying, you develop strong intellect, which is nothing but wisdom. So you apply that wisdom, this knowledge in your day-to-day life, you reduce your desires. And when you reduce your desires, bulk of the desires are gone, you qualify for meditation. So therefore he says, meditation is better than knowledge. See, if you can't, beyond a point I can't explain, if you still not clear, that is why we have these forums. Like Wednesday, you can discuss. I mean, I know it is subtle. It needs a couple of reading, and you need to spend some time with it. I can see blank faces, so don't worry. Then he says, Dhyanat karma phala tyaga. Again, make up your mind. What are you trying to say? Renunciation of fruit of action is superior to meditation. Knowledge is superior, meditation is superior, renunciation is superior. What is superior? You get confused. So in meditation, what is happening? You are only dealing with last desire. Only one desire is left. What is that last desire in meditation? To reach the self. But desire still is a desire. Still you are very much in the terrestrial realm. And if you become attached to that desire, if you become possessive about that desire, you will stay put. So only when you give up that last desire to merge with the Supreme Reality, you will reach with the Supreme Reality, you will merge with the Supreme Reality, not before. So therefore he says, you have to renounce even that last desire. See, in case somebody is new, what is the barrier between man and God, between human being and Supreme Reality? What's the barrier? Ignorance. Both are correct. Ignorance, which produces desires. So spiritual practices, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, they are meant for what? Purifying our personality, purifying our desires. So you have to renounce your desires eventually, right? Then you come to what? In meditation, you come to what? Last desire. But is it still not a desire? So if you get attached to that desire, even relatively speaking, it is applicable. I want to improve. Yes, but if I is in the foreground, I mean, you will not improve. So even in meditation, if you get attached to that desire, if you become possessive about that desire, you will stay put. So therefore he says, renunciation of fruit of action is superior to meditation. You read it. How systematically he is explaining. And peace immediately follows renunciation. Tyagat shanti anantaram. You reach a state of infinite peace or bliss. But also this concept is applicable from day-to-day point of view. Unless and until you work with the attitude of renunciation in action, you cannot find peace in life. First of all, you cannot achieve anything. Number one, you cannot find peace. Whatever you do, at home, in your workplace, any facet of your life. The moment you run after the objects and beings of the world, two things will happen. They will elude you. And also it will produce tremendous mental agitations. You'll be full of worry, you will be full of anxiety, you will be full of stress. So you have to work with the attitude of renunciation in action. Nobody understands that. That is where the entire Vedanta philosophy is messed up by people who are misunderstood. So you have to function with the attitude of renunciation in action. Don't say off action, renunciation in action. And only when you work with this attitude, everything is added on to you. Just do what you ought to do to the best of your ability. That is renunciation. So why are you worrying about anything? In your own profession, let's take it for an example. If you just do what you ought to do to the best of your ability, what will happen? You use your intellect, there is goal, there is planning, there is programming, it goes without saying, but you just put efforts. You just do what you ought to do, what your obligations are, to the best of your ability. What could be the outcome of such powerful action? Hmm? A good result. But the moment you become obsessed with, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve this, what happens? It's a very practical concept. You become obsessed with it. I want to achieve, I want to be successful. Yes, you need a goal. Without goal, you cannot function. But if you become obsessed with result, you become result oriented, what happens? It's psychology, it's not philosophy. When you become obsessed with achieving anything, right? What happens internally? What is happening?
Agitated. You are agitated.
You are agitated. Excellent. When you are agitated, what happens?
You won't be able to focus.
It's same, one and the same thing. When you're agitated, what happens to your action? Action suffers. The quality of action suffers. When quality of action suffers, what happens? The result is compromise. You see how practical it is. So therefore, you need to function in the spirit of renunciation. Just do what you ought to do. And there is an amazing word in Sanskrit for that. Kruta krutyasya bhavana. Satisfaction of having done what ought to be done. Kruta krutyasya bhavana. Those who don't know Sanskrit, forget about it. It's a tongue twister. So the English translation is the satisfaction of having done what ought to be done. Any facet of your life. All of you have family. Do what you ought to do to bring up your children. First of all, you get this knowledge. Good many of you are doing it. And do your duties to the best of your ability. It's not you're neglecting your wife, you're neglecting your husband, you're neglecting your children. You do your duties in the spirit of renunciation. Why are you worrying unnecessarily? What will happen to children? Oh, I keep on, what can happen? Nothing can happen. If you expose them to this knowledge, you give them best of everything. I'm talking about higher values. See, after that, the result is beyond your control. The child may turn out to be a demon, and he will become demon in spite of your efforts. There is absolutely nothing you can do. He will turn out to be an angel again in spite of your efforts. Each one is coming with his or her vasanas. So as a parent, it is your obligation to expose your children to this knowledge. First of all, you get this knowledge, meaning higher values, and do what ought to be done. So why are you unnecessarily worrying? In your profession, why are you unnecessarily worrying? Will I get promotion? Will I get this? Will I get it? That does not mean you don't have target. Just focus on the quality of your action and forget about the result. So you should be action-oriented in life, not result-oriented. We all are result-oriented, therefore, what happens? Action suffers. That is that spirit of renunciation in action. And if you function with this attitude, what happens? Peace immediately follows renunciation. What a statement. Tyagat Shanti Anantaram. I haven't come across any person who is working in the corporate sector or business, exception might be there. I haven't come across. Full of worry, full of anxiety, full of stress. Not only they chew their own head, they come home and they chew, I don't know, whose head I should chew now. That's all the heads having been chewed, there are no more heads left to be chewed. So all they need is to work in the spirit of renunciation. Imagine what progress, what peace will be there. It's a very practical verse. You may not understand from meditation, when will I give up that last desire, when I have thousands of desires, He addresses you and me at our level. So now you read all these sentences together, it makes sense. better indeed is knowledge than practice. Is it clear? I can see a lot of questions coming up on Wednesday. It's okay. Better than knowledge is why? Don't answer now. Okay. Better than meditation is
Renunciation.
of
Fruit of actions.
why? Don't answer now. Peace immediately follows renunciation. Even for me too, it's not easy to explain. I mean, you give me 45 minutes, it's not that easy to explain in 10, 15 minutes. But once you get the gist of it, it hits you. I mean, it can transform your life. So if you forget about all this explanation, what you need to understand is when you study scriptures, the only purpose is to improve your intellect, buddhi. And only when you have powerful intellect, you can manage your life. And only when you can manage your life, you can go to the next dimension of your life. Otherwise, you will stay put at the pyramid, bottom of the pyramid, because you can't deal with your day-to-day life, your family, your relationships, your job, what's happening in the community. So once you have powerful intellect, sharp intellect, it will take you right to the topmost level of the pyramid. That's the message. Forget about what the verse is saying. So are we okay? Can you chant verse number 13, please? Next verse. The third topic starts from this verse.
Adveshta sarva bhootanam maitrah karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankarah samadukha sukha kshami Adveshta sarva bhootanam maitrah karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankarah samadukha sukha kshami.
So the third topic of this chapter starts from this verse number 13 to 20. 35 qualities of a bhakta, of a devotee. It's one of the most famous portions of Bhagavad Gita. Even in the next chapter, chapter 13, he talks about 20 qualities of a jnani, who is a man of wisdom. Chapter 2, verse number 54 to 72, if I'm not mistaken, it is called as Sthita Prajna. What is that state of enlightenment? What is the state of perfection in the human being? So these three portions of Bhagavad Gita, they are quite famous. In fact, people, they come only to attend this portion. So if you want to invite somebody, if you want to introduce somebody to Bhagavad Gita, this is the time. In fact, in the retreat, we'll be doing that Sthita Prajna, not the entire Sthita Prajna, but I think 6 to 7 verses. It's a very famous portion. Maybe next year or maybe in 28 we can do. You must have attended that. Have you? Have you done that? In e-learning maybe you must have done. But maybe note down, Radha, Jigar, or whoever. Maybe in 28 we can have retreat only on Sthita Prajna. This is fascinating experience. So coming back, see, how do you know, how do I know that I'm a spiritual person? We all are sincere seekers, aren't we? But then how do you know you're on the right path? Most people, they have misunderstanding of what is spirituality. Therefore, you find there is a disconnect. They may be sincere, but when you look at their action, their emotions, the thoughts which they entertain, there is total disconnect from what they think means to be spiritual and what they actually manifest, what qualities they actually manifest in the day-to-day life, there is total disconnect. Why there is a total disconnect? Because they do not know what it means to be a spiritual. So if I were to ask you, I'm not going to ask you, what is your definition? What is your understanding of spirituality? Who is a spiritual person? I don't expect any answers. I'm sure you will give your own answers. And most of these answers, they have got nothing to do with who is a spiritual person. You're going to find out soon. That person, first of all, must be in the Himalayas. That is why people make a beeline to Rishikesh, especially all Westerners, mostly Americans. All this starts with Americans only. And they go to Rishikesh and they end up starting fast food joints. There's so many Americans, they went there for salvation. They ended up starting fast food restaurant. I was shocked when I got vegan coffee in Michigan. Then I asked who is the owner. He was from California. He went there for salvation. He ended up starting fast food restaurant in Rishikesh, which is the land, traditionally the land of spirituality. So you have to go to Rishikesh, you have to go to Himalayas, you have to go up north, you have to have a particular dress code, you have to have a tika, you have to go to a church or a temple or a mosque every day, you have to go on a pilgrimage. I'm not saying it is wrong. This is our definition of spirituality. And soon you're going to find out not even one thing he mentions. Once a week, at least you should go to a church or a temple. No such thing. You may go, you may not go. He does not interfere in that. So all it talks about is qualities, qualities, qualities. If you claim you're a spiritual person, spirituality will manifest through your personalities in these ways. Through your perception, through your action, through your emotions, through your thoughts. So, therefore, when we study such portions from Bhagavad Gita, that's the portion we are going to start shortly. First of all, you get a crystal clear understanding of what is spirituality. Who is spiritual? Number one. Once you understand that, you can compare yourself with this knowledge, with these qualities. It's not that none of these qualities you will have. You will have definitely a handful of qualities. So it becomes a solid source of inspiration, a solid, substantial, concrete target for you to aim for. Yeah, otherwise, if you look at entire Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad, you have to be with it for a very, very long time to understand the message and absorb. But when he talks about such qualities, instantly it gives you that target. Instantly, immediately you understand whether I am there or I am not there. So you can compare yourself with these qualities, not in an attached way, in a detached way, and find out where is the disparity. Number one. Number two, you can fine-tune your personality. So you may have few qualities, certain qualities you may not have or may not have it fully. So that particular quality becomes a target for you to fine-tune your personality. Secondly, some of you may wonder, when we do that portion, when I'm going to acquire all these qualities, one quality itself looks daunting, a handful of quality itself, oh my God, don't worry. Whatever appeals to you, even if 2 or 3 qualities appeal to you, try to master those qualities, try to absorb those qualities, and all other qualities, they will follow. They are interconnected. If you have love for everybody, will you not have compassion for everybody? What is the answer? The first quality is love all. Adveshta, sarva, bhootanam. Immediately says, have compassion, you should be friendly. Is it possible that you love everybody, but you're not friendly with few people? Is it possible? Is it possible that you don't have compassion for all beings? then you don't know what are you saying. So therefore, don't worry about 35 qualities. Even if you're inspired by handful of qualities, try to master those qualities, try to imbibe those qualities. All other qualities they have to follow. By default, they will follow. And there's a beautiful scientific experiment in physics which highlights what we are saying. And it demonstrates that water maintains its level. Hydrostatic equilibrium of water. There are a lot of engineers here. Correct me if I am wrong. Yes or no?
Right.
Shailesh bhai, am I saying it correctly? He's the oldest engineer here. Hydrostatic equilibrium of water. Water maintains its level. Can you show that? So it's an apparatus with various like funny openings. So it doesn't matter you pour water from whichever opening. What happens? What do you see? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
And all have different shapes. So you pour water from any opening. What level do you see? Where is water?
all are in equilibrium.
Same level.
Same level.
So it shows, it's a scientific experiment that water maintains its level. So similarly, it doesn't matter. One quality may inspire you. Adveshta, sarva bhootanam, the very first quality, not hating any being, or I want to be a giver. All other qualities will follow. So pick up qualities whichever inspire you. So can you show the translation? Yeah. So we chanted, so verse number 13 translation. Not hating any being. Adveshta sarva bhootanam. We'll do it one by one. Friendly and compassionate. Free from attachment and egoism. Balanced in pleasure and pain and forgiving. I think 6 or 7 qualities are there in this verse. Can you project all qualities? So let them get a bird's eye view of everything. Yeah. Can you see the PowerPoint? All of you? So these are the 35 qualities we'll be covering from this session onwards. It will take us approximately maybe 6, perhaps 7 sessions to complete all 35 qualities. So the very first quality, Adveshta sarva bhootanam, not hating any being. All beings, all living beings, not hating any beings. The word Dveshta in Sanskrit means hate. Somebody, I think a few months back, somebody said, why Krishna is using that word? Is it not very strong word? He should have used a softer word. I don't know which word to use. Why not? No, I don't like somebody. I dislike that person. Dislike is nothing but what? Is hate. Is this range may be different. The dislike could be 20%, dislike could be 100%. Hate is hate. So not hating any being. What a statement. And he puts it in a negative form. Why he puts it in a negative form? Why he does not say love all? This is what we usually hear. Love everybody. He doesn't say that. He says not hating any being. He says it in a negative form. Why he says it in a negative form is my question. It's fascinating, this analysis. Why can't he say love all? Why he puts it in a negative form, not hating any being, love all beings. He doesn't say that, not hating any being. Those who are new to this knowledge, Try. Don't worry. There is no such thing called as right or wrong answer. Just stretch your intellect.
Better identify this, because that's how we think. Like that's what our internal emotion is, more than, just to identify with this more, just see what we're doing.
You're not wrong, but then is it not easier to say love all? I'm not saying you're wrong, but why not say love all beings? This is what we hear. So why he is saying not hating any being, Adveshta, sarva, bhootanam.
Sometimes negation is more powerful than being positive. Not hating is more powerful than saying you love all.
Can you tell your daughter, I don't hate you? Negation is more powerful than, I don't hate you. I don't hate you at all. They say, Dad, something is wrong with you. You wish your wife, I don't know, wedding anniversary. I don't hate you at all. I think that will be the last wedding anniversary of your this marriage, at least. In this case, it's not possible. Wife is like a traditional wife, like a good strain. She will cling on to you, whether like it or not.
Hi, Amitji.
Adveshta,
This is
sarva,
Adveshta.
bhootanam, not hating any being. Why is he saying that?
I think he's saying that because hate already exists. Like there is love and hate. Love is harmless, but what we have to do is we have to eradicate the hate part. So he's emphasizing more on the hate. Love is harmless, but hate is something that we have to focus more on. So then we can be aware of eliminating it. So he gives the emphasis to hate. That's what I think.
Excellent. Who is that? I couldn't see you.
This is Akshaya. I have my camera turned off because I'm taking it from my phone.
Yeah. That's okay. Excellent answer, Akshaya, right?
Yeah.
Akshaya. Yeah. Like 10 out of 10 marks, definitely. Right? What is your age? I mean, you sound quite young to me.
I
Never
am.
ask a woman her age, but I'm doing the cardinal mistake. Approximately.
I'm 29.
Sorry about that.
No problem at all.
Okay, are you in your 20s?
Yeah, I'm 29, almost 30. I'll be 30 in a few
Yeah, I
months.
guess so. Yeah. 19, you're 19, I would say, from your answer. Yeah, I guess so. Right. Because when you're young, and don't get me wrong, you have that capacity to think fresh. See, it's no big deal saying I love everybody. And genuinely, you may be identifying with everybody, but that one person or pockets of hatred, that is where that fine tuning is required. I mean, I love everybody, but I can't stand, I don't know, bald men. Whatever it may be. I love everybody, but I don't like the people from Gujarat or Texas. Texas people don't, that too could be anything. I can't stand Indians, anything it could be. But I can't stand my neighbor. So yes, you're identifying with everybody, but that one pocket of hatred or dislike, that is where that correction is required. Otherwise, I mean, you and I can get away. I love everybody except my wife. Love wife first, then you love everybody. Otherwise, there is no point. You love one person 100%. You love the entire world. So therefore, you are exposed. When I say exposed, meaning that is my weakness. That I love everybody except my neighbor. Why he keeps on dumping his trash in my backyard or whatever. Therefore, I cannot stand him. See, it's like you're going up north. The nice season is coming, and you're taking your speedboat and you're towing it with your truck. And all the joints, the bindings, they are very strong. And just at the last minute, one bind breaks. And you tell your wife, like, honey, why don't you get that thin nylon rope? I presume it is very strong. And you're hauling 3,500-pound speedboat with that. What will happen? It has to snap. So similarly, taste of your love depends on not how many people you like. That is okay. But how many people you hate or you can't get along with. So that's the taste. That is where correction is required. See, when I'm nice to you, you are nice to me, we all are nice to each other. What's the big deal? We all say what? Oh, I love you, you love me. But how about when somebody is nasty to you? Can you still claim that you like that person, you identify with that person? You may relate to him differently, but can you still claim that I feel one with that person? Because love is nothing but what? It's a big word, but love at the end of the day means what? Love means what? If I say I love Jigar, if I say I love Vijay, I love Makaran, it means what?
The essence of it.
Unconditioned.
It's
Unconditioned.
identification.
Identification. One word. Do I feel one with you? Do you feel one with me? Do we feel one with each other? So love means identification. Love means feeling of oneness. So if you feel one with that person, how can you hate that person? You may not appreciate certain qualities in the person. That is okay. But how can you hate that person? Your own child is a 101% confirmed spoiled brat. Your own child. The worst brat you have ever seen. Will you hate your child? Will you hate your child?
Yes.
Sometimes.
What hate? Look at Radha's reaction. Don't give some. Whom are you trying to? You may fight with them. That is a different thing. Will you hate your own child? Spoiled brat. I'm magnifying. Therefore, it becomes easy. I'm not. It's not magnifying. It's a correct example. Why that identification is complete. So therefore, taste of love lies in identification. Devotion and love, they are exactly the same emotion. There is no difference. Love means identification. Devotion means identification, feeling of oneness. It depends on the usage. You say, I am devoted to God. I am devoted to my parents. I am devoted to my guru, my nation. But you say, I love my wife. I love my children. It's exactly the same. That feeling of oneness, that feeling of identification. So if you have true love, how can you hate even one person, one being you hate? That is where that correction is required. So therefore he says, Adveshta sarva bhootanam. And second line of explanation is, if your focus is on body, mind and intellect, then you see differences. But my body is different, your mind is different, your thoughts are different. But what is that homogeneous principle which enlivens my body, also enlivens your body, enlivens even terrorist's body? What actions he is committing, they may be atrocious. But the same God principle functions in all of us. So where is your focus? So if you understand the substratum of everybody's personality is nothing but divinity, you may not appreciate the way he is functioning. That is okay. You relate to that person in a different way. The way you relate to your guru, cannot relate to a terrorist. But the same God principle is functioning in the best and worst of human beings. So it depends on where is your focus. You go to a shop, you see different clothes. You go to Lululemon, just don't take it literally. So many, there are different track pants, there are trousers, there are shorts, there is this, there is that. But what do you understand? It's all nothing but cotton. You go to the goldsmith shop, you see different ornaments. What is your understanding? All these different ornaments, they are nothing but the gold. There are different waves in the ocean, big waves, small waves. It's nothing but the ocean. So as far as our material equipment is concerned, body, mind, and intellect, There is heterogeneity. But what is that homogeneous principle which is functioning in this heterogeneity is God principle. So where is your focus? This is how you educate yourself, and that's what you see in your own child. My child. Identification is complete. And if your identification is with all beings, how can you hurt them? Forget about hurting. How can you even think of hurting them? At physical level, emotional level, intellectual level. Forget about others. How can you hurt your own spouse? You may say, I love all. And you go home and say something nasty to your spouse. I'm not saying once in a while. Day in and day out, he or she has to go through that emotional abuse. Man may go through that. Woman may go through that. So that is where correction is required. You love her, you love him, automatically you love everybody. So how can you hurt anybody? All beings. If you say you love all, how can you hurt even an ant? How can you hurt any being? So therefore, he says, Adveshta sarva bhootanam, not hitting any being. So we'll continue this point next week, because I want to show you some like quotations. One is by Ella Wilcox. Second quotation is by Samuel Coleridge from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's a very famous poem. And then there is the poem Abu Ben Adam. So you can note down these three references, and next week quickly we'll go through so that concept becomes clear. Ella Wilcox, Samuel Coleridge, Ancient Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and Abu Ben Adam. So those who know, just 1 minute I will take. That Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the word, again there's a pun in that word. Rime means poem, actually it means ballad. The ancient wisdom which has been passed on. And also it means the frost. When it is windy, you get that frost. So he is talking about his spiritual journey. So when he has that feeling of hatred towards pockets of people, he goes through hell. But then the transformation takes place, and then he's completely transformed. Water everywhere, not a drop to drink. It's all like, it symbolizes that feeling of loneliness, hatred for the world. From that, he ends up identifying with all. So he's talking about a spiritual journey. So when you have even one pocket of hatred, or dislike, you can use any word, you become like that. Water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Wife is there next to you, but you can't love her. Husband is there next to you, you can't love her. So many people are there, but you don't get along with them. Then you're reduced to that state of mental turmoil. It's fascinating. I mean, I wish we could do Rime of the Ancient Mariner, but we don't have time. So if time permits, we can quickly check these references, but I'm going to explain the quotes next week. So let's conclude for today. So any quick question based on what we discussed? Yeah, there is announcement. Yeah, let's have announcement first. Then I'll give you time for ask your questions.
Hari Om. We have two announcements today. We have another question answer session with Amit ji coming Wednesday, April 22nd. It is from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any questions, doubts, do send them to questions@vedantamidwest.org. The next announcement is about the WhatsApp community group. We did have a WhatsApp community group and there were some issues with that. So we had to restart the group. We will send an email reminder to join the WhatsApp community group. Please join. Even if you had been part of the old group, you need to join this new group to get updates and messages from Vedanta Institute of Midwest via WhatsApp. Thank you.
So, any quick question before we conclude? So, I would say read verse number 12, the explanation which we discussed in the class, and Swamiji's commentary, because it's slightly subtle portion. And if something is not clear, feel free to bring it up next week, or you can send your question. So, have a wonderful weekend and see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amiji.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Swamiji.